Hi everyone, this is Pre-Calculus, Chapter 1, Part 2, and this lesson covers absolute value. The absolute value of a number is just the number without the minus sign if the number is negative, so super duper easy. So the absolute value of negative 5 would just be 5. Here are some examples. The absolute value of negative 23 is just going to be 23. Absolute value of 23 is just 23. Absolute value of 0 is just 0. Super easy. So basically what it is the distance between 2 points on a number line. So if we had the absolute value of negative 3, right, so we started at 3 and we went backwards 3 spaces, right? It's just the distance between here and here, which is 1, 2, 3. So the absolute value would be 3. Absolute value of an algebraic expression. All right, so for the absolute value of an algebraic expression, the absolute value of x would equal x if x is greater than or equal to 0. The absolute value of x would equal negative x if x is less than 0. So basically that's what this is saying, is if x is a negative number, then the absolute value of x would have to be negative to make it be positive. So if x equals 6, the absolute value of x would be x, which would be equal to 6, right? So we've got x equals 6, and we want the absolute value of x, which absolute value of x is just x, so that's going to equal 6. If x equals negative 6, then the absolute value of x will be a negative x, so x equals negative 6, and we've got the absolute value of x, which means that we're going to need negative x, and if negative x equals, so that'd be negative 6, right? So if we change that out for negative 6, then these two cancel each other and we get just plain 6 again. So basically it's just saying the opposite of the number. All right, so for this one, we want to express that without the absolute value sign. All right, so we've got 2x minus 14 without the absolute value sign. So the absolute value of 2x minus 14 is going to be equal to 2x minus 14 when 2x minus 14 is positive or 0. So we can write it as, this has to be, first we remember that, then we can say when it is positive or 0. So this is going to be positive or 0, okay? And then we can say the absolute value of 2x minus 14 is equal to, negative 2x minus 14 when 2x minus 14 is negative. So we need to find out what values of x make the expression 2x minus 14 negative. So we're going to say 2x minus 14 is less than 0. And we're going to try to find out what those values are. So to do that, we solve this just like a regular equation. Just pretend that's an equal sign instead of an inequality. We're going to say plus 14, and we get 2x is less than 14, and then divide by 2. X is less than 7. So this is going to be a negative value if x is less than 7, okay? By applying the usual rules for solving inequalities, we're going to get x is less than 7. So that means that our answer is 2x minus 14 is less than 0 when x is less than 7. And 2x minus 14 is greater than or equal to 0 if x is greater than or equal to 7. All right, that may seem a little bit confusing, but it'll make more sense once we start doing equations. All right, so equations using absolute value. So in these, we're just going to have to remember when we did like the square rooted things, we used a plus or minus sign. So when we take the absolute value of something, we do the same thing. We use a plus or minus sign basically. So this is 2x minus 6 plus or minus, equals plus or minus 4, right? So basically what we're saying is that this whole side over here, the absolute value side, this could either be positive or negative. We don't know, right? That could be a positive value or a negative value. Both positive and negative numbers could fit in there and equal 4. So what we're going to do is just move that negative, positive or negative, over to this side. Right? So to solve this, we're going to write two equations. First, we're going to write the positive. Right? So we just take the absolute value sign off, and we solve the equation. Uh, 6 and 4 is 10. And then we're going to divide by 2. And we're going to get x equals 5. Now we're going to do this again on the other side. So we've got 2x minus 6 equals negative 4, because we want to do the positive value and the negative value. So here's our positive, and here's our negative. So we're going to add 6, and we get 2x equals 2. And then we're going to divide by 2. X equals 1. Okay, so that's just like when we take the square root of something. We don't know if it's going to be positive or negative. When we're taking the absolute value, it could be either positive or negative. So you're going to have two answers to those. It could be 5 or 1, because either one of those numbers we could fit in for this x and make it, and it would be correct. So if we said 2x minus 6 equals 4, if we fit this 5 in there, and we said 2x, 2 times 5 minus 6 equals 4. 2 times 5 is 10, minus 6 equals 4. Okay? If we said, and that would be our 4 equals 4. All right, now if we used our negative value and we said 2 times 1 minus 6 equals 4. And remember, this is going to be our negative value. We have to negative the whole thing. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 6 would be negative 4. So we've got negative 4 equals 4. And these two cancel each other out, and we get 4 equals 4. Okay, so that'll fit in either way, if it was positive or if it was negative. Oops, and that's the end of that one. So that is it for part 2 of chapter 1.